also listened to some of them, and it was of interest to add to what they've said and to put it into my career path. I've listened to Ellen, and that was really inspiring, telling them that you must be landed before you even wanted to do skills. I have my master's in finance, and I also have a double master's in entrepreneurship. That is why I always go around, do trainings, and I work differently with different people in the space that I am in. I look at demand-driven skills to be able to solve the problems of young people, but not to look at what I want and what is available within my reach to give to people. But I always look at what is demanded in society, so the society can be solved. Because I have a social entrepreneurship enterprise. I have a social enterprise. And I was recognized by the UN in 2016 as a world social changer in Kenya. And that has opened a lot of doors for me to excel in what I do. It's true that young people must have a basic education, must have an education to be able to read and write, to be able to calculate and know where you want to head to. But I'll firstly tell you that change is a door that is open from within. Whatever we say here today, if it's not of interest to you, if you're not ready to change and adapt to what happened, it will never happen. And she talked about ethics and moral in a different way of giving choices. And I had my grandfather used to tell us, the choices that we made in life, you can make them even sitting down in front of your house, your gate, sit there for 10, 15 minutes, or at least 30 minutes, and then make a choice of your life. When you sit out, you see a young person like you who is drunken. You see a mad person. You see a decent one walking in the streets. You see the one the same age as you, being respected because of the values that she attached to him or herself. And that is what we must resonate and see, which path do I need to take? Do I want to be the drunken one that will be looked upon to? Do I want to be the one that people will respect and honor and always appreciate? Do I want it to be the one that people point on and say reality? Nobody wants to be. And I know that being a good person is very easy, and it's decent, and it's honored. But being a person that nobody respects, it's very difficult because you yourself will not live in harmony. You yourself will not have peace in what you do. So respect starts from yourself. That is why I said it starts from within. It's in your heart. What do I want? How do I want people to see me? That was why I focus on who we are, right? When I was going to the rural, I came in 2005, worked at the bank as a credit director at FI Bank. And then I started having children because I was married then, and I said, I cannot mix family with the work that I do because I leave home 7, I come home 8. Sometimes weekend I have to meet customers to get more business for the bank. So banking was what I love, but not my field. And I grew up, my mom never went to school, but she schooled us, like the minister said. She tried so hard. And my dad was a foreigner, but with all that, my mom said, I didn't go to school, but you'll all go to school. And she was from a well-off family, but she was with her mom in Buyam for a long time before the dad got access to her to bring her back to Combo, and it was late for her to go to school. But to see her siblings going to school and what they could have done, she said, this is my regret, and I'm not going to make that mistake. So I always tell my daughter, I took her, she's Ira's daughter, I took her to the UK 2 years ago. She's in a final year at university. She's just 21. When she finished school, I said, you must come and work with me. She was 16, and she worked at Gainjore as my PR. My PR, so that I can have her as a handbag. Wherever I go to, she'll see what I do, how I do it, how society respects me, and then to adapt that. She wanted to be a lawyer. And then she changed her career and said to me, Mom, when we reach England, I'm going to change and I'm going to do business. I said, why? She said, you're my role model, you're my superstar, and I love you, and I want to be like you. So last year, I won the the Entrepreneur of the Year by She Awards, and I took that award back to her, and I said, put this on your study table. Every day you wake up, you have to be an Entrepreneur of the Year in the Gambia whenever you come back home. So that is to tell you, I've done things for her that my mom never did for me because she couldn't. But I've given her a bigger task of doing far more than I do for her kids. So she had to be more prepared than me. Always have that in mind. What can you do for your children tomorrow to be better off than you are? If you put that in your mind, you have a challenge. If you put that in your mind, you have to work hard to get there, right? You have to really work hard to get there. So if you wanted to be somebody tomorrow, it starts now, right? Khadija Bohum was my student. She finished the university. As your example again, she finished the university and come to me and said, I wanted to study skills. I said, what do you want to do? Fashion. Now she have a fashion brand. She was part of the Yali this year, and she also works at the GRTS, and she was the one who was giving us the result of the elections. That is to tell you, like Auntie Elaine said, we must start from the grassroots, education first. I could have said I have my degrees, I'll work everywhere. I sit in a lot of boards in the government here, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Youth and Sports. I sit in a lot of boards, women organizations. And because I did study. But at the end of the day, skills give me what I should have. I was working at the bank, giving a car to work, but then again, I was not taking home 100 or 150,000 a day, and I'm doing it now. Genjora is one of the most successful schools in the country. That we do not have to go out there and look for funding anymore. We do not have to attract anybody to come to us, but any project that comes to the country, we must be contracted to talk to them because we can do our own proposals, we can do our own pitches, we can work around anything that comes on our table. I do my finance, and I employ my husband as an admin director. So women power, we are powerful as women. We must respect ourselves. We must know that we can get to the highest height at any level. So I'll challenge and encourage you to be the change of tomorrow. Being an entrepreneur, we are the movers of shakers of any given economy, and we move the economy of the Gambia. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Since when I was young, like I have this passion in me that I will study law when I graduate. Or like I admire how lawyers operate. But when I sit for my Gabesi and I got A in English, maths and science. And like for instance, my dad is a doctor and he wants me to follow his footsteps. But me, my passion is to do law. And he asked me to do medicine and follow his footsteps. But I rather disobey and study law because that's my dream. And you doing something that is not like something that you don't want to do. You will not have passion for it. You'll be working, but you will not be happy because that's not what you want to do. So what do you think? Like, should I disobey my parents or I should do what I want to do? Because this is really...
Mr. Dale, that's a difficult one. Really, we don't have career counseling in most of our schools. I think that would have been a very good thing that you would have gained from. When we were going to school, Elena, myself, it is your mother says, your father says, you're going to study law, you're going to teach, you're going to be this, and we just did it. They didn't even look at our talents. They didn't look at, we all have different talents that God gave us. Some of us are good with our hands, and that's where skills come in. Some of us are very talented in doing hair. Some of us are creative. We can just see this drape right now and can create a very beautiful dress out of it. So everybody has your talent. So I don't know. Wait, one second. I don't know if you have. Are you like persuasive? Do you know how to talk very well? I think you do. I can hear that. So I'm not going to say disobey your dad, but I would say that's a reflection. Maybe you'll go talk to teachers and things like that. But I think Madam has something that she might help.
Thank you. I think passion is number one. If you are really passionate about it, know that this is your future and you'll excel in it. Because you'll work hard towards getting what you want. Like she said just now, I was wondering how can she do science and wanted to be a home science. But she told us categorically clear that she needs the chemistry to be able to, get the chemicals out. She needs the biology. She needs everything she calculated very well and tell us. If you can tell your dad how passionate you are and do a thorough research of what you want to do and how you can excel in it, giving it to him in strategies, he will definitely accept and will be the best in what you want to do. Passion is number one.
Starfish, there is something that we teach our students. That is 5 qualities. That is really important into everyone's life, including you girls. Okay, so these 5 qualities are nobility. You have to be noble. You have to know who you are. You really need to know who you really are, what you want, and where you're heading to. 2, we have independent quality. We teach our students to be to be able to do business for themselves, even to sell butterscotch, dalasi, and get that money at the end of the month to buy pen, book, or whatsoever you need. Okay? We also have a quality called service. You need to be service-oriented. That is to help people without expecting anything in return. We also have the quality of knowledge. You need to seek knowledge. Learn as much as possible. That is key. And the 5th one is what you really need to talk to your father. That is courtesy. So courtesy is really important. You won't say no, that I am not going to do it, but you're going to be somebody who is going to stand firm to defend yourself and explain and express yourself to your dad that you need this and this is what you want. And that is how you're going to do it without saying anything bad to him or disobey him. So you need courtesy quality for that to prevail. Yeah.
Let me just crown it by saying that I'm not very convinced that you are passionate about law, because you said because of the way you see lawyers. It's not just what is on the surface. You really need to find out, what do lawyers do? Are you in it for the money? Are you in it for the language and the drama, the learned colleague? Is that the only reason why you want to do it? Is it the wig? Is it, you really need to dig a little bit deeper. And Auntie Yadi, you've said it. That's why counseling is so key for our schools. And I wish education was here to hear it. They're here. Okay, you are here because they need to hear the fact that this is absolutely key, because a lot of students are in her position, sometimes not even with the families, but with the schools. You go into grade 10 and the school will decide which class you're going to go into because of what subjects you passed. Nobody takes into account what does the child want, what do they like, what will they be comfortable. You are very right. If you are doing something just because it is a job, then it becomes very mundane. It's not meaningful. You won't have any impact. But if you are passionate about it, then the impact will be seen. And I'm sorry, Priscilla, I know we're running out of time. You called passionate people here, so we will keep on. So please, and they're saying it nicely. Don't disobey your dad. If your dad needs someone to talk to, give him my number. Because your dad needs to know that you cannot be him. You cannot be him. We have so many square pegs in round holes in this country. Children have graduated with subjects that their parents have forced them to do because they wanted to achieve something which they did not achieve, or they want you to continue in a particular line, and it is unfair. So I will say disobey him.
So I would say thank you too. A wonderful applause for them, please.
Please note the questions you have. You can always meet them I'm sure they'd leave their numbers if we ask them to. So you can reach out to them, you know. And like Auntie Elena, she has told you, give give your number or give your dad the phone to speak to her or something like that. So you can actually reach out to them for any of the questions you'd like to ask and gain clarity, because I'm sure they're open to things like that. So we'll ask them for their numbers, and then you can reach out. For those of you who had questions you wanted to ask, but you couldn't ask because of time. So we'll get their numbers for you, and you can always reach out to them. So we're going to continue, and she'll beat me. Okay, and so Bintu is going to moderate the next session. A round of applause for Bintu.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, this would be the second panel, and I have 5 really amazing young women to call on to the stage. First, we have Mrs. Rose Fatu Koka. Come up, please. So, Mrs. Rose Fatu Koka, with over 6 years of entrepreneurial expertise and 2 years dedicated to agribusiness, Ms. Rose Fatu Koka stands at the forefront of innovation in the agricultural sector. She currently serves as the founder of Quick Cook Limited, a company committed to sourcing and distributing leafy vegetables and shellfish to both local and global markets. Let's clap for that, please. Okay, next we have Honorable Miss Degin Job, I believe. I hope I'm not missing the name. Okay, Miss Degin Job is the Deputy Speaker of the National Youth Parliament, a youth-led organization that represents the voice of young people with its primary focus on good governance and democracy. Degin is also the Advocacy Office for Center for Research and Policy Development and the chairperson of Tango, working on a group of marginalizing group, right? Of youth, women, and people with disabilities. Clap for that, please. Next, we have Mrs. Tala Kamara. Mrs. Tala Kamara, please come up. Ms. Tala Kamara is a Tosan Training Center alumni. Tala works at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education as a broadcast producer of the communication unit. She is currently the youth representative of Basse Area Council and also the vice chairperson of Activista, the Gambia Board of Governors. Please clap for that. Next we have Mrs. Ida Cisse Njai. Ida Cisse Njai is an experienced management consultant, a businesswoman, an advocate, and a humanitarian. Ida has been a multi-site property manager for 12 years. Ida worked for the UN World Food Program as a senior program officer under the school feeding program and working with the Ministry of Education to build capacity and work and wrote the policy towards the 10-year handover strategy of the program. Please clap for that. Next, finally we have Mrs. Emily Juve. Mrs. Emily Juve is an education specialist who works with the international organization and NGOs. Her work centers in the exclusive education and contribution in advancing and improving children's rights and access to foundational literacy and numeracy, Global South. She is dedicated and inclusive and equitable and a quality leader for all. Please clap for that. So on this panel, the discussion is rising above our limitations to success. So Mrs. Tala, we're going to be starting with you. I think this mic, right? So rising above our limitations to success.
Before I say anything, I just want to acknowledge somebody very important that I've always looked up to. I know she will not recognize me because it have been ages. While going to school in a rural part of the Gambia, that is Basse. I'm actually from a small community called Basse Kabakamba. I've spent all my life in the Upper River region of the Gambia, so I am a rural girl. And this lady that I want to acknowledge is Mrs. Yadi Kohn. I know it will be difficult for her to recognize me, but she is one of those people that inspired me to make this far. Her days with Fawe Gam and Tusemi, I was one of those young girls that she always mentors, speak up, and it have paid dividend. Yeah, so I please. Yeah. So the topic of discussion today is rising above your limitations to succeed. My journey was not an easy one, but I know it's the same for so many rural girls. Looking at where we are coming from, we have limited opportunities. And for me, coming from a background where people respect traditions and culture so much was really difficult. But I tried to look for my network, and I was able to break those barriers. So if a girl like me from the rural Gambia can make it this far, then what is stopping you? If you look at where I am coming from, I am from a very humble background, growing up, because it's rising above your limitations to succeed. So what I want to do is to share my story. I don't know if my story is going to inspire you, and also I just want to warn you, don't take everything from me. Maybe what I am able to take, you cannot take it, but take the best part out of my story. So I was born by a Fula dad and a Sarahule mom. I hope you understand what that means. Exactly. So my mom and dad were not the problems, but their relatives were, because of the kind of expectation that the society attached to the girl child. So for me, growing up, like I live in a humble home with my dad, my mom, in a room and a parlor, and we were 6 children. So it's like literally we were living a hand-to-mouth lifestyle, but alhamdulillah, we were content. Fast forward, going to grade 7, I lost my dad. And my mom was a complete housewife. I saw how my mom struggled to see me through school because I was the only fortunate child out of the 6 to go through the school system. Yes, because I was sponsored by the Chikambas. These are white people that support rural girls in education. So when I lost my dad, my mom literally have no skills. You know, she's not educated, and she have children to bring up alone. So that was when I said to myself, I don't want to be like my mom. Because sometimes when I'm studying myself a lot, but I knew crying was not going to solve my problem. So what I did was I just removed my school uniform and ran back to school. So for me, it was my teachers all along. I told them what was actually happening. And thanks to foundations like this, I was able to escape child marriage. And at some point, I left home. I was not with my mother for about 3 years because my dream was not to be like her, not to go through the struggles. But for her that time, she was desperate. She needed somebody to support her. And for them, that support was for me to get married. And for me, that was not the solution because I have younger ones that I need to take care of. I stood my grounds until I was able to graduate. And you know, with all the stress, family problems, being away from home, I went through a lot. Sometimes I go around to look for these metals to sell. They call it ferrite. Imagine that heat in Basse. I don't in fact have a proper shoe. I wear that, go look for these metals, sell it. The little money that I have, that is what I used to take care of myself. And luckily, a Christian family took me in. This guy was a teacher at my school. At some point, I nearly changed my religion because I feel the people that I share the same religion with don't want to accept me. They want to force me into things that I don't do. But that man was so conscious, and he just allowed me to make choices that I feel were best for me. And he saw me through school. When I graduated grade 12, I came out with 6 credits. I knew I could do better than that if I had all the opportunities that any other girl could have to make it big, but it never discouraged me. I went straight to college. I know I could get admission to the university, but the money was not there. Who was going to sponsor me was difficult. I went to college. And teaching was something that I always wanted, so I went in for it, and I was able to do my program, and I got good grades. Immediately after college, I went back to my school to serve. So while serving, I used my story to inspire other girls. Because even if you look at statistics, in URL, child marriage is still an issue. And for me, I feel what I am able to do to escape, how many more girls can do that? It will be very few. So I went back to my region, more reason why I am recognized until today on international and national platforms. Because wherever I have a platform, I use it to share my story so that I can inspire other girls that might be going through what I went through or something similar. This is the way we encourage one another. And also one thing I want to say, let us be each other's keepers, especially young girls. Because all the friends that I was moving with, they could not stand it. They all end up getting married. And today they are complete housewives. They cannot provide anything for themselves if their husbands do not give it to them. And when they see me, they are like, Tala, you've made it. I'm proud, yes, I've made it this far, but I wish I could have done it with them. I wish I could have forced them when I was trying to say no to all these barriers that the community pushed at us, that the society put at us. Yes, I used that to pay fares, to get to school, to do printing, to do photocopying, and all of that. That was how I was able to survive at the Gambia College. And imagine coming from Basse, I can only speak Fula, Mandinka, Sarahule. And you know, in this part of the country, it's Wolof mainly. So my first year was really difficult, but I tried to speak Wolof. I forced myself to speak Wolof, and today I can say I speak very good Wolof, you know? And I'm so proud of that achievement. So currently, I am at the University of the Gambia studying English language on my final year. And I'm also, the only university student in my family, actually. Yes. So with all this, I am able to support my little sister, who is now in grade 9. She's doing really well. She's also trying to be like me, but I told her to pursue her dreams, actually. I'm not forcing her to say study this because I studied that. And she's not going to go through what I went through. And today, we are not in a single room and a parlor. I have reunited with my mom, and we have a room, a double bedroom and a parlor. And I got a plot of land, yes, in Basse. And currently, I am the youth chairperson of the Basse Area Council. So you should add honorable to my name. Yeah, that is that is how we are addressed as councillors. We are addressed as honorable, but I'm saying that out of joke, okay? Yeah. So that is it. There are so many barriers that block us as women, but we need to be strong to break those barriers. And also, you need to know your networks. You need to know the kind of people you rely on. Imagine your family abandoning you. I was exposed to a lot of things. I was abused, not sexually though, but I was abused in so many ways. But I was trying to keep to what I want because I knew what I want. Today, I am not like my mom. I am married now, happily married. I got married last Tabaski. I don't use charcoal. I don't use firewood. I cook with gas. So I think that's a very big achievement, isn't it? And I only cook when I want to cook because my husband is also an activist like me, so he understands where I am coming from. So when you pursue your dreams, you can make choices. I was able to make a choice of the kind of a man I want to get married to, not my family telling me, marry your cousin, and that's it. So please, stick to your dreams and make it big. My achievements are not big, but I'm so proud of myself, you know. I don't want to be humble because I went through a lot to get this far. So thank you very much.
Okay, so before we go to the next person, I'm so sorry. They're killing me based on time. So I would give all of you 5 minutes to just give us a short something on the topic.
Thank you very much. And I would just say stories like tell us make me not take, make me not want to share my story, make me not want to take the opportunities I have for granted. I have been, interacting with young people around the country since when I was 9, an opportunity that not most of us have. And I have seen and I have heard stories. And for me, the opportunities we have are nowhere comparable to the ones that, people from rural Gambia have. And it just tells me that we should not take what we have for granted, but also we should be each other's keeper. And I am a last child. You know how we are. Most of the time, by the time it reaches us, the struggle is lesser. And like Musu was here in the morning, I was fortunate to have child fund my education and health way to my second year of university, something that most girls don't have. So those things I don't take for granted. And I just want to speak about rising above and beyond limits to success. And I will start first by saying it's about yourself first. And as young people, it is very normal not to figure things out. I'm sure Auntie Yadi is still figuring things out. So it's okay not to figure things out. It's okay not to figure all of it out right now. And we will be worried, we will be afraid, and we will procrastinate a lot for that matter. And as senior school girls, most especially, we'll be bothered by our grade 12 results and whether we'll be able to enter university. And for me, going to university, passing grade 12 and going to university is the ultimate goal. But it's about waking up every day. Set the goal and forget about it. It's about waking up every day and asking yourself, the lessons I have yesterday, how do I stop procrastinating and go through each of those lessons to make sure today I have read and studied what I have learned yesterday. It's about planning next term exams. What are the things I am expecting and studying towards meeting those goals? Don't think about the mock exam. Think about just next term and work towards passing next term. It's about the small steps. And when you pass that exam, celebrate yourself. Celebrate the fact that you have passed that term's exam. And after it passed, then we start preparing for the next term. And by the time we reach grade 12, we realize that we are prepared enough to sit the grade 12 exams and go to the university. So that's the first thing. The second thing is about rising above the normalcy. You're going to school so as thousands other girls in this country. Yes, you will pass grade 12. So as 100 other girls in this country. So what makes you special to have opportunities that they don't have? What makes you special to be admitted into the university while others don't? What makes you special to be given opportunities that they won't have? Those are the questions you should ask yourself. And then you will know just passing is not enough. Just being educated is not enough. It's the basics. Very important. I have seen, the changes, the difference it has made in people's life. And we can tell ourselves the difference it makes between your lives and your colleagues who do not attend school. So do something else, like the training you have today. How many of your colleagues have it? Not many. The lessons you learn here, the experience you have here, you use it, you will rise above limits to success. This is something your mates don't have. And the other thing is, I want to talk about rising above limitations is about challenging yourself. Challenging yourself. Let the race not be about, okay, Degen is the deputy speaker, I also want to be the deputy speaker. No. It's about, today this is who I am in my life. Tomorrow I want to be a better person. It's okay to be inspired. It's okay to want to do what others people do, but it's also very okay for you to be the limit, for you to be the starting line. Okay, today I am this, tomorrow I want to be something better. I want to be that. That I want to share with the young people here. I think for now this is what I will say. And I am very happy to be here today. And I just want to say, I heard there will be resolutions from this summit. And in 2 weeks' time, the National Youth Parliament will be sitting in the National Assembly chambers to really talk on the issues of young people in this country. And then our position papers will be delivered to the standing and select committees of the National Assembly, but also various ministries and development partners and stakeholders of this country in general. So it will be important if you conclude to share these resolutions with us, because right now our youth parliamentarians are in their constituencies consulting with other young people, and this could be as part of some of the documents that we are going to deliberate on. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Tala. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you to my co-panelists. Are you guys still with us? Yes, okay, that's really good. I'm Emily. I know they introduced us, but it was a while ago. I'm going to try and keep it to 5 minutes. Rising above limitations to succeed seems to be an easy one because you've just heard incredible stories today. I was extremely inspired when I heard Priscilla's story. I've known her for a very long time, but I did not know that that's how this organization came to be. For me, in my life, even though I've benefited from a lot of opportunities and privileges, what I've learned is that challenges are my favorite opportunities. Whenever life gives you something really hard, like unemployment, or poor grades, or a family situation, you have to develop the skill to look at it with a different eye, to see, well, what can I do out of this situation? What can I build? And if you don't know how to do that yourself, you have to look for those networks that my colleagues just spoke about to help you find a path. Because the truth is, there is always a path forward. When I think about barriers, I know that they're very different for all of us. Even though we're lumped together as girls, women, rural child, urban child, what happens in your home, in your life, differs from your neighbor or your cousin. So for you, I think it's important that you think about your life. What are my barriers? Is it financial? Is it cultural? Is it religious? Everything starts with recognizing yourself, the situation you're in, and what those barriers are. Then you can start to find a way forward by looking for those networks I was talking about. I will give you guys an example. I prepared a speech for this event, but yesterday I met such an exceptional lady. I will share her story with you. Very similar to Honorable Tala, she's also from rural Gambia, very close in URR. And when she was 7, she just decided she was going to go to school. Nobody else around her was going to school. Nobody in her family wanted to go to school. And there wasn't room in the family to entertain that. So do you know what this little 7-year-old did? Is she opened her own school. She just called the little ones, 3, 4 years old, and started teaching them anything she knew, because she had never been to school herself, just to show her family that, oh, look, this child has a gift, has a spark, and maybe education might be it for her. But that didn't help. Her parents still said no. But she noticed her uncle was kind of sort of interested. So what she did was she went to the uncle and said, my father said you should register me. And so he trusted her and took her to school and registered her. And when she came home, there was some disciplining. But the father said, you want to go to school, go to school. I'll have nothing to do with it. I will not pay school fees. I will not buy the uniform. You see how you do at school. This little 7-year-old went out and found groundnut and cashew nut, and she sold it, and she bought her own school bag, school uniform, and her books. She was 7. This lady, she will be publishing her book in a week. She is still just about 30, but her whole life continued like that. She decided that she was going to do something. She was going to change her life. There were barriers all along the way, but she found a way right? She looked at her situation. She brought people on board. And she also did something that I think all of you need to really practice, which is to believe in your ability to change your situation. Yeah? Everything starts with self-belief. Once you have that, nothing can stop you. Absolutely nothing. The world is full of barriers for girls, and every single day we knock them down. Every single day. And so I'm a very strong believer that we women are incredible, exceptional, kind of out of this world, because no one else can do what we can do. So I know you're listening to lots of information today. I want you to hold on to this from me, that you have the power to affect the change in your life. That's it. If you can hold on to that, I'm sure I'll meet you very soon as a minister, as a businesswoman, as a shopkeeper doing my hair. I need someone to do my locks, you know. There's so much opportunities in this country that you can just grab hold to. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you.
Good afternoon, or should I say good evening? Is it? Oh, good afternoon. After hearing everything they have to say, I really, really have absolutely nothing to say. Because they have said everything that this whole platform encompasses. Tala, you have done a wonderful job, and don't diminish yourself for what you've done. You've done a wonderful job. So for me, I have to say I've been very lucky. My challenges are not as serious as Tala's has been. But I also noticed that everybody's wearing a pink ribbon. What happened? I have them here. See, I walk around with these, and I'll get you one. But do you guys know why you're wearing that? Why? Have you ever met somebody who survived it? Where? You've never met somebody who survived breast cancer? You have? Who? She did? She's a phenomenal woman. So for those of you who have never met somebody, you met one today. So I am super proud that you guys are wearing that. But my challenges are not like theirs. It's been health issues. So I get emotional every time I talk about this, because as women, I hate to do this. As women, we have so many challenges. But the one that we have the most is we don't take care of ourselves. We take care of everybody else, but not ourselves. So I'm not going to say very much because I'm going to continue crying. It never stops. It never ever stops. Once they start flowing, it doesn't stop. So what I have to do, besides all my accomplishments that she said very well, very recently I no longer am with WFP. I am with Comium, who all of you guys know Comium has been dead pretty much. And I can happily say I've been one of the driving forces to bring it back, even though I have no business being in telecoms. None. And it is a field that is rigged with men. Boardroom, there's 12 men, I'm the only girl. Half the time they don't let me talk, but I stand on the table and say, you have to listen to me. I have input today. Just now I came from a meeting, which is why I'm late, I have to apologize. So being a woman and going through so many struggles, I'm not supposed to be here today. My girlfriend tells me, you've died 3 times, and you came back, thank you. So being that, from every health challenge that you can think of, from infertility to having cancer twice, to having to having congestive heart failure. I have a pacemaker.
Do you know what a pacemaker is? It helps your heart beat when your heart can't do it by itself.
Exactly. So everything you can think of that can stop a girl from doing what she's supposed to do, it has happened to me.
But not because it's my fault, because I just have bad genes. Genetics does that to you. So I am telling you guys that whatever obstacles you have, you can persevere through it no matter what. I lived in the US for 23 years, and I woke up one day and I looked at my husband and said, "We're going home." He said, "You're crazy. You have all these health issues and there's no doctor's facilities in the Gambia." I said, "We're going home." Not because of anything, but because I felt like this is where my calling is, and this is where I wanted to be, to help people like you. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, but being in Gambia has made a huge difference. Yes, I still have to go back to the US for medical reasons, but being here is what makes the difference. And meeting people like Priscilla who are still doing the good deed is what keeps me going. So you girls have no excuse, none. If not anything, you heard everybody who sat here and said it. If I don't see you guys succeed, y'all gonna have a problem with me, okay? That's all I have to say.
Good afternoon, everyone. I always wanted to be a pace setter. I've always wanted, to be really innovative in the industry that, you could really tell this is something done by rules. So after doing the oysters for a while with my mom, I think I took a walk to Serekunda Market. The day I did, it was just a casual walk, which I always do. So I met the woman in the market throwing a lot of leafy greens when the KMC truck came. And that left me, asking myself, really, what's really the problem? I think there's something that could be done with all these leaves, because this is what these women do every other day, and this is where they fend for their families. So I realized I could do something about it. So I went back home, spoke to a few people about it. I was like, I have an idea. I think I could, take these leafy greens, package them like we used to do, and freeze them in our freezers when they're in season, so we can cook our delicacies during the off-season. So I started off with jute leaves, sweet potato leaves, cassava leaves, and amaranthus green leaves. So I washed them, chopped them, packaged them, and then, did my testing. So I did that. It was really exciting for me because, starting anything new gets me very excited because I want to know what the other person's reaction would be on that particular product. So I started off with 4 products and did a little bit of, market research, asked customers how they feel about it. And it was going really good. And eventually I decided to increase my product line. So currently, I didn't even say the name of the brand. The name of the brand is Quick Cook. I'm sorry, guys. So I launched Quick Cook in 2021 on October 13th. And when I started selling the leafy greens, I figured it wouldn't make sense for you to just come to my shop and buy jute leaves. Then again, you have to go to the market to buy the other ingredients. Because the goal is trying to enable women cook at a shorter period, having all the ingredients ready to cook. So that is how I started by getting all other ingredients that would complement the leafy greens to give you a whole meal. So when I did it, I did one for Super Kanja plazas and the like, and it looked really amazing. That was when I just started. But then challenges came. Like people started discouraging me here and there. Oh, do you think this would work? In Gambia, people really love going to the market. If you do these things are only for those in Europe who don't have time. So that sort of discouraged me a bit because I was like, yeah, it makes sense. But there is a market in the Gambia because she's a busy woman. If she's working at Comium, she's trying to really push Comium to go. She doesn't have the whole day to go to the market, prepare, and all of that. You've never been right. There you go. So this is how I looked at it. So I found my passion, and my passion is working with my hands, and my passion is also solving problems. So when I got the idea, I looked at how many types of problems it would solve. So for the market vendors, that's sustainable income for them. if I have to deal with farmers, there's also sustainable income for them in the sense that they don't have to farm and then start looking for potential customers to buy their produce. They already have someone who's coming to buy all of their produce. But when I looked at how far I can go with the business, I figured I'm not just helping farmers, I'm not just helping women in shell fishery, I'm not just helping my partners, like the young people that I work with, because everybody in my team that I try to work with are all young people. Those that print my stickers are all young people. Those that do my deliveries, they're all young people, even though they are a diverse group. But this is something I've always wanted in my heart, which is really, really to work with young people and create a platform where others can thrive and survive. So starting Quick Cook has really been, for me, a great step, because in the entrepreneurship ecosystem, I think I'll use this platform to say this, I've always vented out how, I've not had the opportunities that other people have not because I have not applied, but they've made me feel like I just don't belong in some way, because I've applied for grants in this country, I've applied for, certain opportunities that other people have applied for. And when I see the people that get the opportunities and see what they are doing and look at myself, what I am doing, I was like, if this opportunity was given to me, I would have done way better. Not because I know, but because at the stage at which I am currently, this is the right opportunity that would take me to the next step. But notwithstanding all of those obstacles, I let go. And my biggest would be, I got selected for the Mandela Washington Fellowship, which was a great big deal for me, because when I was really, really applying, thank you. When I was applying for this, I started thinking about it when I just started Quick Cook. I said to myself, 2023, come what may, I'm going to apply for this fellowship, they're going to select me, and I'm going to the US. So when the application opened, I gave it my all, and indeed I was selected. I went to the US, I gave it my all, and here I am back home, sharing my story with you all. I hope it inspires you to be creative. So my take to you all will be creative in wherever you find yourself. I've listened to all of them. Most of them have been to university. You wouldn't believe I've never been to the university. I don't have a degree. I only studied insurance, but my passion has just been solving problems and working with my hands. And that is what I've used to the best of my ability, and it has brought me this far. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. That's a very important question. I believe you're a student, and what I always tell students, your first point of contact is your school. Now that we have a lot of laws, like the Women Amendment Act that is looking at some of these things, so it's like we have a lot of backings when you look at the Constitution. But again, when you look at our communities, we also have organizations, we have institutions that also takes care of issues like child abuse. So, but then it will be easier for you if you contact your school first. They'll be able to give you the necessary support. Sometimes you can get the necessary support from home, but when you look at our homes, they don't know the right channels to go through, and most often they go to the police. And that is a whole process. And when you look at our community setup, like a girl is abused, there is a lot of stigma attached already. But if we're able to go to like the social welfare units in our communities, I don't know if all of you are familiar with them. Okay, we have somebody from there. Oh, exactly. So maybe she could be the right person to answer this question. But with the little experience I have with it, because I have served as a teacher for almost 4 years, and we have registered cases like that. But what we do is we started with the school, then the school administration takes it up with other institutions that are mandated to take care of issues like that. I hope that answered your question, but I can still hand over to her to elaborate more.
Thank you so much, Tala. I think you answered the questions very well. Uh, there are a lot of channels that exist in our communities, and this is why we decentralize. As I am speaking to you right now, we have officers in all the regions. We have social welfare officers in all of the regions in the country. And they are also working hand in glove with partners like police. We even have CCPCs, we call them community child protection committees in our region, in our communities. They are also trained on child protection matters. You can also report to them in the community. They can help you to touch base with the regional officer. If the regional officer also get the case, they can work with the police to ensure that your parents are invited. Even school authorities are as well invited. If matters come to us where parents are engaged and they still want to go ahead to arrange a marriage for you, what we do is withdrawal of the child from that community, where we bring you to the shelter and we see how best you can be supported on your education. So normally these are the existing channels. We even have Children National Assembly. Even the Children National Assembly, I think they are doing very well. I've seen scenarios when the Children National Assembly members are the ones who support their own fellow children in their schools to ensure that they get redress to escape child marriage in their communities. So you can also do the same. You use the school authorities, or you also help a fellow who is undergoing the same stress. And we can be each other's keepers. So thank you.
So you can, in addition to what she said, there's also a gender-based violence hotline, toll-free hotline. It's nationwide, so you can use any GSM operator, SIM card, whatever, and call. There's no charges, it's free. And then the thing about this hotline is when you call to give your case or to report a case, if you don't want your name to be mentioned, because we are key, like we are very big on confidentiality. So if you don't want your name to be mentioned, it can be anonymous, and or you can also report on behalf of a friend. So you can just call 1313. It's for any gender-based violence related cases, and you will have the helpline operators attend to you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So I'm sure you have I don't know any
Yeah, okay.
Yes. There are a lot of numerous challenges. There are social problems, there are financial problems, tradition, culture. But looking at rural Gambia specific, child marriage is still an issue in that part of the community, and also limited opportunities. Most of us find ourselves here, not because we actually want to be in this part of the country, but all the tertiary institutions are around this end, and that is a barrier to our development because you want to come here to further your education, you don't have a guidance, you don't have any family member living here, it limits you. It's like we have a lot of graduates that cannot make it here because there are no accommodations. Who will take care of you when you're around this end? That is a challenge for rural girls. And tradition and culture is also a challenge because still, especially the Sarahule society, that's where I am coming from. My mom is a Sarahule. Most of my cousin sisters were not privileged to go to school because they still don't believe in girls' education. They still believe that we belong to the kitchen. They still believe that we are supposed to be complete housewives. That is also a barrier to the development of girls. I can count them, they are a lot. Think of all the barriers, that is what rural girls go through. And I know some urban parts in this area, there are girls that are also facing such challenges. So it's like, for the country in general, when it comes to culture and tradition, it's a barrier for every girl. Maybe we experience it differently. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Absolutely.
What is your advice and where can they go so they can have their cancers treated?
So this has been my fight in Gambia, is that I've been doing this in Gambia for about 5 years now, and we have been promised a mammogram machine for a long time. We still don't have it. I'm not going to name names, but, huh? Oh, you can't hear me? Hello? Oh, okay. So we've been promised a mammogram machine, and we don't have one. We did a fundraiser, and we had some money, but not enough to get a mammogram machine. So in turn, what we decided to do is to use that money to treat patients. I work in Gambia, but I live in Senegal. Don't ask me how I do it. I do. And I have a partner in Dakar, and we partner up with doctors there, and we take patients there. Funny story, this month I was telling my daughter, I said, oh, I'm not going to come this month because, of course, it's October, and we're doing cancer awareness. She said, does that mean I don't have to see patients this year? Because my house has turned into to accommodate patients who are going through cancer treatment, because everybody knows Senegal is expensive. Leaving your home here and going to Senegal for treatment is expensive. The food is expensive, the accommodation is expensive. So I have turned one of my bedrooms in my house into I don't even know what to call it, but people can come and stay there and go through treatment. And it makes absolutely no sense that 5 years later we are still talking about this. To answer your question, if somebody feels something that's a lump, if it's caught super early, the people at EFSTH are doing a wonderful job. They have a breast clinic there Monday through Thursday. You only pay $25. And they have really, really good doctors. There's a doctor who is, she's not Gambian, her name is Dr. Binti, it's a lady. And if it's caught early, they can do, a mastectomy, and they can do surgery, a lumpectomy to remove just that lump. But if you need anything more advanced than that, because we don't have radiotherapy in Gambia, chemotherapy they have, but you have to sit in a chair like that in the ward where everybody else is. It's not ideal. So again, for treatment, we don't have very many options besides Senegal. But like I said, there's a lot you can do with early detection. So for the girls that are sitting here, do not be afraid to touch your own breast. It is yours. Touch it every month after your menses, 12 days after your menses, feel it. If you feel there is anything that wasn't there the month before, please go see a doctor. It costs you $25. And there's a perception that, breast cancer happens to people who are older. It used to be, not in today's age. The youngest person I've seen with breast cancer is 16 years old.
So it is not something that happens to older people. Now my daughter is 15 and she's an advocate. She even had this whole presentation this month in her school because she wants people to know that it is not something that you get when you're old. So these things are things that we need to advocate for, is to get early detection. Make sure you feel it yourself. Do a self-breast exam. And now these kids are all over the internet. You can find these things on the internet. And also, if there's anything we can do, is for advocate for our healthcare system to be better. We're 52% of the population. Anything we want in this country, we can get. We are 52%. If today we all got out and said we walk into State House, by the end of the day, we'll get what we want because we are that many. If we say we're not cooking today, no, it's true. It is. If we say today we are not cooking, we're not cleaning, we're not taking care of the kids, but we are going to the State House to get what we want, you best believe we will get it. But getting ourselves together is our problem. For me, I talk a lot. But I've been privileged enough, if I'm sick, I don't have to be here. So what I'm doing is for everybody else who cannot leave. That's who I'm doing it for. So you are absolutely right for asking that question. No, there's not proper help. But early detection is what is going to save us. Because that $25, believe it or not, is going to save your life. Thank you.
Because we have trained them on how to export.
Yeah. Thank you. So we're taking the last one and we're taking it from her. And you can catch us outside. Yes, please. Okay, I go by the name of Yara. I would like to ask this question, and my question is, what do you think we can do? What do you think can be done to stop early marriage and other issues that we can ask? Early marriage is something that's really steeped into our culture, but we're not alone. Many, many, many countries, apart from the Gambia, have faced this issue, and so there's a lot we can learn from our elders. We have to address it on a multiple levels. We have to realize that our elders do want the best for us, that they do love us, but this is how they have grown up, and this is what they honestly believe is best. And so for me, as a professional, when working with early marriage, we have to approach it with different, five fingers in the same hand to be able to deliver punch. You need to work with parents really closely. You need to work through organizations that have been doing this. So it's not your fight, you alone, you child. There's entire units, there's teams across the country in your community that do this work, right? So speaking with the parents, working with communities, and talking to religious leaders, their voice carries a lot of weight in our society, right? There are many of them that have a lot of empathy. They're very difficult ones. But there are some that can champion our cause, right? So religious leaders, I don't think that we should ever leave apart when we're talking about early marriage. I think education is also really key because a lot of young girls actually do want to get married. We don't talk about that, but there's some girls at grade 12, they're like, they're just getting ready to get married. So there's nothing wrong with being married. We're just saying, let's keep your potential, your opportunities open so you can choose a husband. Because choosing a partner is the single most important decision, I would say, in your life. It can uplift you, but it can also hold you back, right? Education. So girls themselves know how to speak up for themselves, understand their rights, know who to turn to, what activities to do, right? And then the fifth thing that I would do in terms of girl marriage, to big guys there, is to not be afraid to do what is necessary to get away from the world, to go to another family member. Right? I hope that answers your questions. It answers many of your questions, but many things. Yeah? Would you like to talk about it?
Okay, thank you, Evelyn, my darling. My husband is good. I think there are so many ways that we can address issues of child marriage and female genital mutilation. One at the level of government is working around policy framework to set the policies right, and this is why we have Children's Act of 2005
Thank you very much, sir. I'll be very glad to share. So the National Youth Parliament is not an act of parliament like the National Youth Council. It's a civil society organization, but one very structured and one very recognized by government and aligned ministry. It was founded in 2022 by one Sambujang Conte. And over the years, its advocacy was mainly based on anti-tobacco and also sexual and gender-based violence. And at some point to governance, doing civic education, but also election observation. In the 2020, the December of 2020, I and my colleagues were voted in as the ninth executive of the National Youth Parliament. And then you have in each region you have 30 youth parliamentarians who apply through, you buy a form and then you apply to be a member of the National Youth Parliament. And then in each region we have 30. But 30 was too big to fit in a chamber, so even bringing all of us together, the resources were not there. And we asked ourselves, how can we be more structured to effectively but efficiently represent the voices of the young people? So we set a reformation agenda. And first among those was to really revamp the structure. And what we did was, because there were already members in the regions, so we engaged the regional youth committees that are under the National Youth Council, the district youth committees and youth organizations within the regions, and say, these are already members of the National Youth Parliament. However, now we are doing our representation for each constituency, one member, because we want to shadow the National Assembly. And youth groups come together and nominate for each constituency one young person to represent their voices. And at the end of the process, we have 53 young people from 53 constituencies. But for us, it wasn't enough. We have other goals, and that is to close the gender representation gap. And for that, we also give each region to nominate one lady to serve as their gender representatives at regional level. But we also give 2 seats to the persons living with disability to also look at their structures nationwide and nominate 2, a lady and a gentleman, to represent them at the National Youth Parliament. And then, because in 2020 we already had our elections where I and the speaker were elected, and just to tell you, our elections are overseen by the IEC, so it's very credible and very well managed. So we continue our tenure. And after that, we also revise our constitution. We bring on our standing orders, have our financial, human resource, and management book. Employ staffs. As we speak, we have 9 paid staffs and 7 regional clerks who are also volunteered staffs. And then that is how the structure came about. But in 2025, we are going to be having regional elections, this time not nominations. We are going to be having elections where young people in every region will come together and elect their constituency representatives. And those are the people that will go and sit for them and speak on their behalf at the National Assembly chambers.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Come again? Yes, our term limit is 3 years. But when we come for the first year, and we set the reformation agenda, and then we did we revised the constitution, and then that sets the pace to 4 years instead of 3, but the term is 3 years. After us is 3 years, because for us we are not even allowed to run for elections again, because we did the reformation. It's like what is happening with our constitutional problems. You cannot lead a reform and benefit from it, then it becomes conflict of interest.
Please tell them.
So we are not allowed to vie for our positions again. So by 2025, I and the Honorable Speaker are going, and then our role, our responsibility was to set the space, to make sure we have a youth organization that even the National Assembly will admire to replicate, but also one that will prepare youth leaders to know that this is the right thing we have to do, and when we get there, this is what we needed to do. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to say thank you to everyone seated here. I just think it's very fascinating that you can just see someone's name, see everything that they've done, but still you don't really know their story. I've seen all of your profiles and I read it all the way down. But then today you see that here telling me your story has taught me more than I read. So it's very, very important for us to know each other and know each other's stories. I cried for a second. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It was just too much information, and there was just so many stories, so many to learn from. I don't know if you guys have listened to their stories, but I have. Right? It has really touched me. Let alone you young women here. I know there's a lot you can learn from these young women as well, and all of their struggles. And then from their stories, you can realize that every success story has problems. Every single success story, be it health issues or financial issues, there are always issues. But we always learn to rise above our limitations. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, so we are joined by the brain behind this event today. So we'll talk about a whole lot of things because I said this will be the longest interview. Like I said, we'll be bringing you interesting stories here from the 10 years anniversary of the Future for Girls Foundation here today. So, Madam, welcome to African Renaissance.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you for your invitation. And now we want to talk about the inspiration behind the establishment of Future for Girls Foundation.
So the inspiration behind Girls for the Future Foundation came at a point in my life where I was discovering myself. And it came at a point where it was one of my lowest points in life. I was unemployed, frustrated about the system, and I didn't have anything to do. But then my dad, he's my he for she. I'm so ever proud of him. He sensed my frustration and he wanted me to do something for myself even when people don't give me the opportunity. And that's when I started paying attention to the things around me, the causes that I want to support. And then some 11 years ago when I was in a Methodist youth camp, I was sitting under a mango tree, and then I was having discussions with young girls. We were from the rural and urban areas, and then I just realized that the discussion was just one-sided. And the girls from the urban rural areas were just nodding, listening, but they were not really engaging with us. And I felt that was wrong in all levels. And I felt I had to do something because I know that we are all the same, but we have different opportunities and experiences. Yeah.
That's a great inspiration from a hunt for a job now to establishing a successful, you can say successful now. It's over a decade now, and then we saw there have been a lot of challenges, you know. So what are some of the lessons that you've learned over the past decade?
Right, I have so many lessons because I've fallen down a lot of times, and it has not been easy. And from the beginning, the word go, it was challenging because I thought then in the political climate of the Gambia was not favorable, and a lot of big NGOs were struggling to even survive. So who am I to even survive in that environment? But then I have struggled to finance the foundation. I started with my own salary, but then I started it before I got married. So, I don't have any responsibility. I started using part of my salary to fund the foundation, and then I had support from family and friends that helped me around. But then later on, I realized that it was not sustainable. So I decided to start a business called Prio. It's a baby and maternity brand, and this business proceeds, anybody that supports this business supports the work that I do in my foundation. So the burden was a little bit lessened. But then I needed more support because the business is thriving, but we need more. To grow big and reach wide, we need more support. So we are 10 years today, and I'm grateful because it's me celebrating, it's not my not just my celebration, but it's a celebration of the girls, the impact that I have made, or we have made as a team with all the mentors to the girls that we have mentored. It has been phenomenal. We have seen girls that we have mentored from day one, what they are becoming today. It is phenomenal. They are leaders, they are business owners, they're job seekers. Some of them now are seeking jobs and they are being employed, and we are proud of them.
Indeed, a proud moment for
Oh,
every
yes.
father of any institution.
I am proud of them.
So now we want to. There's a word that you've mentioned here, which we are always passionate about, and sustainability. Sustainability is something that we always passionate about. So what you have a business and you have a foundation that you are taking. How do you join these two things together?
Um, the business generated because of the foundation. And in the business, we do handmade crafts. And you can see today displayed, you see a lot of girls are doing so many beautiful handmade products, similar to what I do in my foundation. And it's just trying to encourage people to support what we do in my business and also support the foundation so that at least we can be able to complement each other.
So I think it's taking long, but I'll take two last questions.
No, it's
Now,
fine.
so what would be your last word to the general public regarding the Girls for the Future Foundation, and then possibly what are the prospects? What do you want to see yourself in the next the next 10 years? That is to celebrate the next the 20 years anniversary for the Girls for the Future Foundation.
So especially to the ladies that are listening to me, I want them to rise above their limitations. If I had given up then, if I didn't have the support systems that I had, if I didn't listen to the opportunities that were being presented to me, I wouldn't be here today. It wasn't easy. It's a long journey that I have fallen down and I've gotten up, dust myself up, and move on. I have cried, I have laughed. But one thing that has been beautiful has been
Successes that
yes.
she is or he is able to produce.
Yes.
Now today's theme is bridging the gap that is between the urban and the rural areas. So
Yeah.
what is this? How significant is this theme to you?
This is actually the why of my foundation. Like I told you earlier on, this happened 11 years ago. So it took 11 years for it to come to reality. It has been because challenges, resources. I've been trying to do this forever, but you know, God's time is always the best. It waited until the 10th year before I could achieve it. And it is the reason why I want to do it. I travel across the country, work related, and even family, because my dad spent most of his years in Basse as the cotton ginnery. So we had all summers to spend up country. We've seen what's happening up country. And you can see the vast difference. Opportunities available to us girls in the urban area and girls in the rural area. It's not the same. They are quite different. Why should it be so? We all have rights. We have girls' rights, and we need to enjoy in the rural area. Yes, it is our right. We need to demand it, and we need to claim it.
Indeed, a proud moment. 10 days, 10 years, 1 decade is not 10 days. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so we are being joined by Jatum Bai. So welcome to African Renaissance TV once again.
Thank you so much, Mohammed.
So now today is the 10th year anniversary for the Girls for the Future Foundation. Tell us your reaction.
I feel so happy. Number one, the turnout was just amazing. Like people showed up, high dignitaries showed up, and to be honest, Mohammed, everything was done by the girls. Yeah, so meaning we have been groomed to be able to take these responsibilities in any level. The founder Priscilla has done incredible job. Priscilla is the founder, but she took the ownership and passed it on to all the girls. Today, I started Girls for the Future as just a participant. And there was a time that Priscilla gave me a bold responsibility to coordinate Girls for the Future Foundation. It wasn't easy at all because I was dealing with women, I was dealing with young people, I was dealing with girls. But she had trust in me and gave me that bold step. And could you imagine, we're celebrating 10 years. Priscilla has mentors. All of them are, they into, amazing stuffs. But in terms of production, in terms of coordinating, in terms of, ushering, she had to do everything in a package and hand it over to these girls for us to run the whole program. And today, this is a huge success for all of us.
But I think
yes.
there should be also men involved in the panel discussion that happens there.
We will consider that next year or next 2 years. But for now, since it's a girls program, we just want to, bring all women on board to talk about what are the issues, what are the reasons why we have the divide between the rural and the urban. But we're definitely planning the next summit to bring men because they are part of us and we are part of them.
We are partners when it comes
Yes,
to development.
exactly.
So now,
Yes.
there have been important topics that have been discussed here. Like example, I've had someone talking about breast cancer. Someone talked about journey. Someone talked about moral and then ethics. So how do you think this can equip the girls into self-development and self-realization?
I'll first say we chose these people very wisely. We didn't only sit a day and say, okay, Jato is coming, Ida is coming. No. We sat long since to think of how we can broaden these topics. The reason why we brought these women are because we think they have a voice. We believe if they speak, it will touch people's heart. That is why we brought them on board. And I believe every girl child today in the hall is inspired by these wonderful people or wonderful speakers. And right now, panel discussions are going on. The students don't even want the panel to end because they are well equipped now with amazing knowledge. Yes.
So everybody's learning. Even myself have been learning. Even though I'm not at at their shoes, but I'm learning.
Yes.
So now to the topic. The topic is bridging the gap between the urban and the rural area. So how important is this topic?
We believe that I can say those in the rural and urban has different gaps. Yeah, they are not entitled to have a lot of facilities. So the founder herself decided to bring these two, these two phases, that is urban and, and rural, to see what the problem is and how we can bridge these issues. And I believe today or tomorrow, before we leave this place, we will have a concrete solution to all of these problems. And we're hoping our girls today will sit and try to, themselves breach these issues and how best we can solve all of these problems.
So my final question will be, what should we expect tomorrow? Tomorrow will be a dinner, so what should we expect?
Tomorrow, all of you will, as you will expect motivation. You'll be motivated before you leave. You'll be inspired before you leave. You will learn before you leave. And you will also see culture, traditional wears will be displayed all over because these girls are going to wear their traditional wears from different regions in the Gambia. And also, we will have awards night where we will give, awards, certificates to the deserving ones. Anyway, all of us are deserving, but then, yes, we can't give everybody award, but we will choose certain people like our speakers, our students, for participating, taking their time to make sure that this event is a success.
Yes, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now we are talking to the to beneficiaries, of course, students. Like we said, Girls for the Future Foundation have brought together over 35 students, almost 35 students all over the country. So we're here to talk to Nelly Chow of Gambia Senior Secondary School. Welcome to the African Renaissance TV. And then now, what we want to ask you is, what are some of the lessons that you plan today from the class?
Thank you. First of all, I would like to introduce myself once again. My name is Nelly Chow, a proud student of Gambia Senior Secondary School, on my third year to graduate. Yeah, a grade 12 student.
Wish you good.
Thank you. Well, one of the most important lessons that I have learned today is that as a girl child, being a girl doesn't stop you from achieving equal rights and duties that men or boys do. As a girl child, you have the right to acquire all important positions that men or boys are acquiring. And as a girl child, you have to be that you and do you to achieve your dreams and ambition through any level, no matter the consequences, the criticism, or the self-discrimination, family discrimination, or societal discrimination that you receive. Despite the challenges, you need to fight to get what you want, because we girls are seen as, let's say, we are looked down upon. Yeah, we are seen as vulnerable people. But I believe that what men can do, we can also do. Because according to fundamental human rights, both male and female should enjoy both rights equally. And we were born equal.
Sure.
in the eyes of the Lord. And I believe that we all can acquire all what we want in life if we have the ambition, the ambition and the guidance that we need from our parents and the family.
Yes, so we've seen a lot of speakers here. One of the most fascinating thing is we're talking about the bridging of the gap between the rural and the urban area. You've had one of the speakers talking about one of the, her experience as a rural student. So what kind of emotion, what is your reaction to those kind of things like the early marriage and all that? Because I'm sure the urban areas are not being faced by this.
Yeah, like I'm really touched from what I heard, because people from the rural area do not have that much privilege that we have, because they are being forced to marriages. Yet still, they don't have that confidence in themselves to stand for themselves and fight for their right. And I believe that the government should take necessary measures to make sure that children from the rural areas are given those rights and are encouraged by giving them things like public speaking training and encouraging them in mentorship program so that they can help themselves and develop their courage and help them in develop themselves in self-esteem.
That's very important. Thank you so much. Like she said, you have to fight for your right. You have to fight for your dream. You have to fight for whatever you want to become. So join us as we talk to another lady who is from the urban, the rural area. Of course, we are talking to a student from the urban area. She's studying at the Gambia Senior Secondary School. Like she have mentioned, she have had issues that are touching that she don't think they have been existing. That is the early marriage and all that. So join me as I talk to another person. So we are being joined by a student from the rural area. Like we said, Girls for the Future Foundation brought together 35 students from all over the country to discuss how to bridge the gap between the rural and the urban area. So what's your name, please?
My name is Khadijatu Iba. From my I'm the senior secondary school.
So now you have been in the session. You've heard from the speakers. So what are some of the important lessons? You know, if you will choose from the speakers, what is the most important message you have had today?
Like some of them we are talking about the rights of girls, like girls in the rural area and girls in the urban centers or urban areas. Like that gap between us is like those people have more opportunities than us, but the rights are all there for us. Not only for urban girls, and rural girls are not part of it. Human rights or rights are there for us. Like for example, human rights are rights we enjoy for the fact that we are human beings. And yes, and I believe the rural part of the Gambia, we are all human beings. So I think we are all entitled to those rights. If they have the opportunity to this, like basic amenities and other things, I think we should also have the same thing.
It's very important. You know, everybody has the right to every opportunity that is available for everybody. So now, this is a summit that is geared towards bridging that gap. So how important do you think this is for you guys in the rural area?
It is very important because according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 26 is saying that we all have a right to education. And now many of the tertiary institutions are in the urban centers, and we are not having it there. I believe with this, if we are able to have these institutions in the rural area or provinces, we will also catch up with the urban people.
Thank you so much for joining. So now, this will be my final and last question. What advice do you have for those who are in the rural areas, like from Armitage, from Bara, and other schools that are in the rural area, but that does not have the opportunity to join this kind of session? What advice do you have for them?
Like, some of them did not join it here, but I know they will be seeing it in the TVs and other platforms in the social media. Like, if they see it, they should just take the best part of it and follow it. Because I know in every conversation, there must be part of it that is not sensible and the other part will be sensible. And I think what was said here today, the most part of it is sensible and they can catch up with that. But for like schools like Armitage, I don't know for others because I have not gone to much schools that much. But for school like Armitage, we have human rights clubs and the others. And I have been attending many workshops on human rights and gender-based violence. So in Armitage, like that other head girl was talking something fatty Bintu. She was saying like their time it was not easy, but for now with the help of human rights, everything is down. Though I am the head girl there, but I know there's no corporal punishment. We don't punish.
You are the head girl of the how do you call it? How will I describe Amite? Now, I will not want to say that because some people will be watching that will attack me. So thank you so much for joining us here, and then we are glad that you are part of this, and then we believe you will share the knowledge that you've learned here to your fellow students. Thank you so much. This has brought us to the end of today's event. This event is the fourth Rural Urban Girls Summit, a summit that is geared towards bridging the gap between rural women and then the urban women. So this summit has brought together 35 students from all over the country, 35 students from different schools on the different part of the country, from the rural area and the urban area, to discuss on the possible ways to bridge the gap between the rural and the urban girls. So we've heard from the interview, we've heard from the founder who has been very happy, who is very happy, very much delighted about the journey so far from the last decade. So this is the call with me, Mohammed MC.